Present, Madam Clerk.
Mr. President.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Roll call, Madam Clerk. The Municipal Council.
She did that.
No, Mr. President. This evening's prayer
Yes.
has been rendered by Mohammed Khalil, is a Commissioner of Art in Paterson, followed by the flag salute, which has been led by Ariful Islam and Sheikhul Shakil, both students of John F. Kennedy High School. Mohammed Khalil. please.
Prayer.
The prayer first is by Mohammed Khalil. He's
Yeah.
over there.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
Sir, you can come over here.
Mohammed, can you come around? Just come around.
Can you use that? أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم آمن الرسول بما أنزل إليه من ربه والمؤمنون كل آمن بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله لا نفرق بين أحد من رسله وقالوا سمعنا وأطعنا غفرانك ربنا وإليك المصير لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها لها ما كسبت وعليها ما اكتسبت ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. Good evening, everyone. Just want to say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah shower you with peace and mercy. Let's pray. I pray to Allah that to give you wisdom, give you success, and give you the knowledge to work together for the benefit and the best interest of the city of Paterson and the people of the great city of Paterson. May Allah help you and bless everybody. And may Allah give the very special prayer to the children of Gaza and Palestine to heal and believe and relieve their pain and suffering. May Allah bless them, shelter them with food, water, and medicine. May Allah shower us all with all of blessing, with health and peace on earth. Thank you very much.
Amen.
Ameen.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stand, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
We will now have a moment. We will now have a moment of silence for our troop and those that lost a loved one, and also for peace in the Middle East. Thank you. You may be seated. Madam Clerk, please read the statement of compliance.
Yes, Mr. President. Statement of compliance with the Open Public Meetings Law for 2023-2024. Meeting date is November 9, 2023. The time is 7 p.m. Adequate notice of this meeting was compiled and disseminated in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Law in the following manner. 1. The annual notice of regular meetings and workshop sessions of the Municipal Council was compiled for the year 2023-2024 on or about July 1, 2023. 2. A schedule of the regular meetings and workshop sessions of the Municipal Council for the year 2023-2024 was duly transmitted on or about July 1, 2023 to the North Jersey Herald News, the Record, the Arabic Voice, the Italian Voice, the Passaic County Pulse, Dominicana News, La Quisqueya Internacional, El Especial, the Paterson Press, the City Post News, Tap into Paterson, the weekly Bangla Patrika, in addition to any other publication duly requesting such notices. 3, the schedule of the regular meetings and workshop sessions of the Municipal Council for the year 2023-2024 was prominently posted in the lobby of City Hall, first floor, in the place reserved for the announcements of this type. 4, the schedule of the regular meetings and workshop sessions of the Municipal Council for the year 2023-2024 was duly filed with the municipal clerk. And 5, a copy of the schedule of regular meetings of the Municipal Council was mailed to any person who requested and paid the fee authorized by the Open Public Records Act. Mr. President.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Before we start the meeting, let me just inform the community that our Councilwoman Mims is not with us tonight because she has an injury on her foot ligament. Also, Councilwoman Davila, she's attending a conference. She's out of state. Councilman Abdelaziz will be arriving late. And our Councilwoman Ruby Cotton, I see here that she's arriving late, but she's always on time. Thank you, Councilwoman, for being early. So, payment of bill by Councilman Shaheen Khalid.
Thank you, Council President. Council members, summary of disbursement for November 9, 2023. Total payments is $21,881,078.70. Out of that, little over 15 million county taxes. Also, we do have insurance and health payments, health benefit payments over $4 million. I recommend it gets paid, so I move it.
Second discussion.
Thank you. Payment of bill moved by Councilman Khalid, second by Councilman Velez. Discussion, Councilman Velez.
Just quick, Council President just noted that the payment of bills has a payment for 30 new police patrol vehicles, but in the description it says computer and accessory. Madam BA, through the chair, Madam BA, District 30 vehicle are going to get installed computer and equipment accessory, or they all on the road already?
These are for the
Madam
ones.
BA.
Thank you, Council President. These are for the ones that are being. It's a combination. They're not on the road yet. They're waiting for this. This was the last piece, so it was already done, and now we're able to pay for it. And then they actually might be on the road already because of the installation.
So, in other words, we have the vehicle, 30 vehicles.
Correct. Yep.
Now we.
And then we were waiting for all the computers and
And the
accessories.
accessory includes decals and all that stuff? Or just a
I don't know if
computer?
that was already done ahead of time. This was mostly the technology
Yeah,
side.
meanwhile, we waiting for that technology part into the vehicles. They should do the decals, not wait until they do that, then come back and forth. They will hold the cars again. So I just want to make that notation on it.
Thank you, Councilman
Thank you,
Velez.
Council President.
Roll call, Madam Clerk, on payment of bills.
Roll call and payment of bills in the amount of $21,881,078.70. Councilwoman Cotton. Councilman Jackson. Councilman Khalid.
Yes.
Councilman Udin.
Yes.
Councilman Velez.
Before I vote, Madam BA, I forgot to ask you to keep us up to date and what's going on with the new contract that we voted for the garbage collection, where we at, when they got to come in. You know, we need to inform the community because they expect that company to start working soon, but we need an update where we at in that. Saying that, my vote is yes.
Your vote is yes, Councilman?
Oh, yes.
Thank you. Mr. President,
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Councilwoman Mims, we wish you a speedy recovery. Get well soon. We need you back as soon as possible. With that being said, my vote is yes, Madam Clerk, on
thank
payment
you.
of bills.
Thank you, Mr. President. The votes are 5 yeses, 1 no, 3 absences. Payment of bills in the amount of $21,881,078.70 is hereby adopted.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's do the consent agenda, Madam Clerk.
Yes, Mr. President. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the council and will be enacted by one motion. The items listed under the consent agenda are numbers 4 through 21. Any item may be removed from the consent agenda by the request of any council member, and if so removed, will be treated as a separate matter.
So move.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Velez and second by Councilman Khalid. Roll call, Madam Clerk, on the consent agenda.
Roll call on the consent agenda for adoption. Councilwoman Cotton.
Give us, Madam Clerk, give us a second. There was a move and a second to the consent agenda, but Councilman Jackson is requesting item number 5 to be removed from the consent agenda, which is resolution reappointing Ms. Betty Simmons as a commissioner to the Paterson Task Force for the community action. So item number 5 will be out of the agenda, so it will be treated as a separate item. Madam Clerk?
Okay.
Okay. So let's continue with the roll call, Madam Clerk, on the consent agenda.
So roll call on the consent agenda as amended. Councilwoman Cotton. Yes. Councilman Jackson. Yes. Councilman Khalid.
Yes.
Councilman Udine.
Yes.
Councilman Velez.
Yes.
Mr. President.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. My vote is yes.
The votes are 6 yeses, 3 absences. The consent agenda is hereby adopted as amended.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Madam Clerk, item number 25, we will remove item 25 out of the agenda since Councilwoman at-large Mims is the one of the sponsors, and she's not here with us. She will be here at the next meeting. So let's take this item off the agenda to give her the opportunity to be the one that moved the item. She's one of the sponsors. And let's move with item number 23, Madam Clerk.
Item number 23.
23.
Item number 23 is a resolution authorizing the award of contract to Carousel Industries North America, Inc. for the purchase, installation, and configuration of digital voice cards for the Vesta 911 system for the Division of Information Technology. It's a resolution 23:707.
So move.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Velez and second by Councilwoman Cotton. Roll call, Madam Clerk, on item 23.
Roll call on item number 23 for adoption. Councilwoman Cotton.
Yes.
Councilman Jackson.
Yes.
Councilman Khalid.
Yes.
Councilman Udine.
Yes.
Councilman Velez.
Now that we are approving this, I just want to bring forward to the administration. There was a big issue with the line 1111. I want an update if that was corrected. I know some constituent was calling that it was ringing, and a lot of calls was not taken. And I was aware that if somebody told me that there was a problem with 111. So if the issue is corrected, so let me know so I could inform the community that the problem was resolved. My vote is yes on this.
Thank you, Councilman Velez. Mr. President.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Madam Bia, we will give you the opportunity to respond on that right after we close in the voting section, because that's a concern that I've been getting a lot of calls in the last couple of days also. That was a problem with the 911 system, that it was not working properly. If you don't have the answer now, I don't see the director here or the chief, but if you don't have the answer, so you could get the answer, and once you get it, you could respond. I want to make sure the community, be aware about what's going on. With that being said, my vote is yes, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. President. The votes are 6 yeses, 3 absences. Item number 23 is hereby adopted.
Thank you. Item number 26.
Item number 26.
You mean 24?
I'm sorry, 24, Madam Clerk.
That's 24.
Madam,
Council President,
moving to
I don't know if using the discretion of Councilwoman Ruby Khan that she's a sponsor, but Liz Amends is not here either. So.
No, she's okay with that.
Oh, okay.
I already have a conversation. She has only one item 25 to be removed. So item number 24, Madam Clerk.
Item number 24 is a resolution honoring Wahida Mohammed on her 75th birthday and for her commitment to the City of Paterson community. It's sponsored by Councilwoman Ruby N. Cotton and Councilwoman at Large, Dr. Lilisa Mims. It's a City Council Resolution 23:708.
Move it.
Second.
Move and second as well. Moved by Councilwoman Ruby Cotton, second by Councilman Velez and Councilman Mendez as well. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Roll call on item number 24 for adoption. Councilwoman Cotton.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I just want to say to Ms. Wahida Muhammad, happy birthday to your 75th birthday and your commitment that you have made to the city of Paterson, being involved with everyone, being involved with different organizations, and the commitment that you have made to Dr. Jesse Dixon with keeping the Grandparents Center open, Grandparents Relative Resource Center. That is a big responsibility. You have stepped up, you've done it, and you continue to do it. So I just want to commend you for everything that you have done here in the city of Paterson. With that being said, Madam Clerk, my vote is yes.
Thank you, Councilwoman Cotton. Councilman Jackson.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. As usual, Ms. Muhammad, phenomenal job for all that you do, and congratulations on 75 strong, powerful years. Keep up the good work. Keep hope alive. Keep the fight going. Madam Clerk, my vote is yes.
Thank you, Councilman Jackson. Councilman Khalid.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I just want to wish Wahida Muhammad a 75th birthday and many more to come. I want to wish you a healthy and prosperous life, and my vote is yes.
Thank you, Councilman Khalid. Councilman Udin.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Happy birthday, Ms. Mohammed. Thank you for everything you do for the city of Paterson. Thank you for Grandparent Center and providing food for so many needy people in the city of Paterson. And I wish you a wonderful 75th year. Thank you. My vote is yes.
Thank you, Councilman Udin. Councilman Velez.
Honorable Wahida Mohammed, first of all, I had to say I did send my message when you was a birthday celebration. It was all over Facebook. So congratulations on 75th birthday. If you don't say the year, nobody could think that you look so young. And 75, you know. But she had not wasted. If you look at the, read the third whereas, and it's the different membership in different organizations working with the community and continue working with the community with the pantries and everything that she gave to the community with the grandparent raising grandchildren. So, and one of that legacy that is up there now in the 5th Ward, I could say that you lobby a lot for that. So congratulations on that, and thank you for serving us all this year, and God give you health to service more. My vote is yes.
Thank you, Councilman Velez. Mr. President.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ms. Wahida Muhammad, happy birthday. Congratulations. May God continue blessing you with long life and health. What you're doing at the Grandparent Resource Center, it's amazing. You're helping so many members of this community. I see you working. I see you out there. You have an amazing energy to serve the people, to serve the community. I remember when I was a school board member, since 2010 all the way until 2014, I used to see you at the school board also advocating for the children of the city of Paterson. Even though you didn't have any children at the school district, you always been fighting for the community, for the children, for the senior. So just keep doing, keep going, and we love you, and Paterson love you. My vote is yes, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. President. The votes are 6 yeses, 3 absences. Item number 24 is hereby adopted.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Item number 26.
Yes. Item number 26 is a resolution honoring and celebrating 100 years centennial anniversary of Pi Beta Sigma Fraternity, CHI Sigma Chapter, sponsored by Councilwoman Ruby Ann Cotton and Councilwoman at Large Dr. Lilisa Mims. City Council Resolution 23:710.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Ruby Cotton, second by Councilman Velez. Roll call, Madam Clerk, on item 26.
Roll call on item number 26 for approval. Councilwoman Cotton.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I just want to say congratulations to the Phi Sigma Sigma chapter, who started a chapter here in the city of Paterson 100 years ago, 1923. They're celebrating 100 years, and I can say this fraternity has helped many organizations throughout the community. I know they helped me with my Christmas and my Thanksgiving dinner, with providing toys, with putting my bicycles together for the bicycle giveaway. But they are truly, it's about partnership, and it's about relationship. It's about working together for the betterment of the city, to help the community, to help the families. And I can truly say that they have been part of this, but just the idea that it's 100 years they established here in the city of Paterson in 1923. I want to say congratulations once again. I appreciate everything that all of you fellas, guys do for the city of Paterson, not just myself, but to everyone that has organizations that does things for the city. Madam Clerk, with that being said, my vote is yes.
Thank you, Councilwoman Cotton. Councilman Jackson?
Yes.
Thank you, Councilman Jackson. Councilman Kalik?
Yes.
Thank you, Councilman Kalik. Councilman Udine?
My vote is yes, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Councilman Udine. Councilman Velez?
This is one of the fraternity that you see them always involved in the community when it comes up to, and I have a lot of respect for them, because when we call the community for any kind of hurricane relief or any situation, no matter what the country is, they always come with their donation and also volunteering in that aspect. And you could see them all around in any festivity that celebrate community, you know, and my vote is yes.
Thank you, Councilman Velez. Mr. President?
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Congratulations on their 100 years of anniversary. My vote is yes, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. President. The votes are 6 yeses, 3 absences. Item number 26 is hereby adopted.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Madam Clerk, let's do item number 22.
Yes, Mr. Item number 22 is a resolution authorizing the award of contract with Cablevision LifePath, Inc. for Internet services under ESC Co-op Agreement ESCNJ 2021-45 for the Division of Information Technology. It's an administration resolution 23:706.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Velez, second by Councilman Kalik. Roll call, Madam Clerk, on item 22.
Roll call on item number 22 for approval. Councilwoman Cotton?
Yes.
Councilman Jackson?
Yes.
Councilman Kalik?
Yes.
Councilman Udine?
Yes.
Councilman Velez?
After my vote, Council President, I want to say something. My vote is yes.
Thank you, Councilman Velez. Mr. President?
Yes, Madam Clerk.
The votes are 6 yeses, 3 absences. Item number 22 is hereby adopted.
Council President,
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Before we move to the first reading, Councilman Velez.
before we go to the first reading, I noticed in my agenda, there's an item 27. Well, the resolution is here, but I don't see it, that it was in the agenda.
Sunday addendum, Councilman.
Addendum?
Yes, if I may, council members, so Councilwoman Davila has an item to be added on the agenda. I have a conversation with her, and the item is not time sensitive. We're gonna be able to move it in December on the next meeting, so we're good. So we're not gonna read item 27 on the agenda.
Do you have
Okay.
the addendum, Councilman? Do you have the addendum?
What was that?
Do you have?
So we could move with the first reading, Madam Clerk.
I just want, because I didn't,
I'm
because
sorry.
I didn't
I'm
saw the
sorry.
agenda.
Let's move with first reading item, ordinance number 1.
First reading ordinance is a bond ordinance providing for the road reconstruction and resurfacing program by and in the city of Paterson, in the county of Passaic, state of New Jersey, appropriating $1.254,997 thereof, including a grant for the New Jersey Department of Transportation, and authorizing the issuance of $1,254,997 bonds and notes of the city of finance to finance the cost thereof.
Madam,
It's a finance ordinance.
Council members, I know, Madam BA, you're reading item number 2 on the, you're starting with item number 2. Item number 1 is ordinance amending 200-1 F3 adjusting to compensation planning board and zoning board. So
You said item number 3.
Number 1.
Number 1?
since you read item number 2 into the record to legal,
Number
so,
3.
So
Number
move.
3. Number
Huh?
3.
So move.
Which one you read? I
Number
thought you
3.
Item number 3.
that's,
Which one did you ask me to read?
read- she said two.
2 and 3
Item number
combined.
2.
So council members, Madam Clerk, let's start with item number 1. That way we could.
Okay.
Let's start fresh
All
with
right.
the,
Where's? Just a moment, Council President.
sure.
Where's item number 1? I don't have it. Thank you. Item number 1 is an ordinance amending Section 200-1.1 F3, adjusting the compensation of Planning Board and the Zoning Board of Adjustment Commissioners.
So move.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Velez, second by Councilman Kalik. Roll call on first reading, item number 1.
Yes, Mr. President. Roll call and first reading ordinance, item number 1. Councilman Abdelaziz, Councilwoman Cotton.
You go, I'm sorry. We should have had a discussion. Because I thought other boards were going to be included. They said no?
No, what happened is that, Council President?
Sure, no, if I may, so as you remember, we have a discussion, Councilman Cotton, that we're going to treat each board as a separate, entity. We're going to move forward with this, and then we're going to bring the two others that receive a stipend moving forward. So any council member that wish to bring those two board and sponsor the compensation legislation, they're more than welcome. So we're moving with with this one, and we're getting ready to continue with the next two board.
This board is the zoning and planning. This is two boards. This is not one board.
Yeah,
This is
those two boards. There's only
Right,
one,
there's two.
the rent leveling, and, but we're moving with those two first.
Well, you know what, this is first reading. I'm really not crazy about putting this through, so until I can get more clarity, I'm not voting yes on this one. My vote is no.
She voted.
She voted no, Madam Clerk.
She said no.
Yes.
No, yeah, she said no.
Councilman Jackson.
Yes.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Kalik.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I think this is a positive step toward ensuring fair and equitable compensation for the valuable contribution those commissioners give to the board and for their decision-making process. My vote is yes.
Thank you, Councilman Kalik. Councilman Udin.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Clerk. Yes, my vote is yes.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Velez.
So those that have been appointed by the council to represent the council on the planning board and watch also and have a good communication looking into what all this commissioner are doing, they spend a lot of amount of time here. Listen to cases, listen to the projects, and making sure they are fair across the board. So I commend those boards to give their 150% of time, of their family time, to come and serve also. So my vote is yes on this.
Thank you, Councilman Velez. Mr. President.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. This item is a small compensation we're stipend to those board members, the board in planning and zoning, also Board of Adjustment and zoning. And yes, as you hear from some council members, they spend a lot of hours, a lot of time, and they take a lot of decisions, key decisions to our city. I know Brother G is well aware, as he's always following up on that, and this is the right thing to do. With that being said, my vote is yes, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. President. The votes are 5 yeses, 1 no, 3 absences. Item number 1 is approved on first reading.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's do item number 2.
Item number 2 is also a first reading ordinance providing various sewer utility improvements by and in the city of Paterson, in the county of Passaic, state of New Jersey, appropriating $4 million thereof, and authorizing the issuance of $4 million bonds or notes of the city to finance the cost thereof.
So move.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Velez, second by Councilman Kalik.
Discussion.
Discussion, Councilman Jackson.
Councilman.
Councilman Velez.
Oh, he's first?
Yes, Councilman Jackson go first. You go second. If there's any other council members, please let me know.
Is there a list of attached items being proposed to be prepared on this item?
Madam BA.
Thank you, Council President. These are for emergencies, so these are not planned repairs. These are anticipated, these are for breakages.
So we're just anticipating $4 million worth
Correct.
of repairs.
Yes, because
And,
that's about on average what we
What
use.
did we spend last year on repairs?
Each year, we go through the bonds of about $4 million.
Do we have a list of the items that was repaired last year under $4 million with the bonding?
We could get that for you.
Because I'm looking here, I know I saw a bill paid out to a vendor in excess of, I think it was $210,000.
Yes, and Councilwoman Cotton noted this last week. A lot of times, these repairs, you only get a handful into the $4 million because each of the repairs costs a couple $100,000 each.
So 200,000 is more than just a handful. That's why I'm, do we have a report on what sewer, what parts of the sewer was repaired last year or the year before? And if you're saying we're going through the $4 million each year, where's the reports on repairs?
I could give you a listing of the locations that were repaired last
Where
year.
did I see that? All right, I'm fine, Council President.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Please, if you could provide that information. That's a very important information before second reading that will give us an idea about the amount of money that we spent on last year in terms of repair on the sewer. Councilman Velez?
And it's understanding the purpose is also to include emergency improvement, acquisition, installation, equipment, and materials, and emergency repairs that we have to do out there when it comes up to a break of one of those lines. Madam BA, the reason I wanted it, because I know that in the workshop, can you give us, now that we're in TV, for the residents of Paterson to understand how this payment is going to be covered? I know that it was going to be covered by itself, I heard, and, it will not incur in a bond, like a bonding to us, like.
Council President,
Madam BA.
I heard the explanation, but
Yeah.
I'd rather you tell them.
well, it is a bond. It is borrowing. Unlike some of the other borrowing that we do for capital purchases and facility improvements that we have to go in front of the local finance board for approvals, this one, we do not have to go in front of them because it is connected to our sewer utility. So the sewer bills, the utility covers the expenses related to the sewer work, and that includes debt service on any of the borrowing that's done related to the sewer. So that's something that's part of the sewer utility budget, and so we do not need any, because it has its own revenue line that supports this borrowing, we don't have to have that extra level of permission from the local finance board. So that's what I noted last week.
All right. Thank you, Councilman.
Okay, Councilman Jackson?
So, Madam BA, with that being said, it's just a little bit concerning, right? Because it almost gives the impression that we don't have to be accountable to the taxpayers. Now, this is an additional tax that was implemented on the taxpayers several years back. So, we're bonding $4 million. What exactly? What's the gross, the estimated collection rate for the year for the sewer utility?
The estimated is about 90%.
90% of $4 million?
90% of about 19 million.
19 million. So the estimated, so the total bill utility is about, a rough estimate, about 19 million.
Somewhere around, yes.
Okay, and so we're projecting to expend on sewer repair on average $4 million a year.
No, if I could explain this, Council President. So the 19 million is covering the cost to, for Passaic Valley Sewerage Commission, which I believe is about 12 million, maybe
14 million.
14 million now. It's the cost of our employees who work in the sewer division and the sewer billing divisions, and it's the cost of debt service and capital improvements to our system. So the $4 million, the percentage that we have to pay on all of our debt. So $4 million is not being paid off in 1 year by our bills. It's being spread over multiple years, is the regular 30-year bonds. So it's the 30-year payment. We only have one payment this year for debt service, which, do you have an estimate of that?
It's, for infrastructure, it's about 952, and for debt, it's about, I want to say 3 million off the top of my head.
That meaning, so one, I appreciate it because I think the public needs to be outlined, but I never questioned about the bond being paid. I understand you're saying, you said before that we're bonding each year on average $4 million.
Correct.
So each year, if we're bonding that, regardless of how the bond has to be paid,
Yeah.
we're expending that, right? So
Correct.
I'm seeing here where one vendor was paid out $240,000. So again, so we're collecting about $19 million. The expense to the sewer commission is about $14 million, right? So a differential of about $5 million. So what other expenditures do we have
So as I mentioned, it's the employees here in the
at
city.
DPW?
Yes.
That
at
work in
DP
the sewer division?
So employees in the sewer division from DPW.
Okay, and
so
what
that's
it-
the entire salary, wage, benefits.
And what's the estimated cost on that?
Somewhere around probably 600,000.
600,000, 600K.
So
Okay.
it's the couple of employees from the finance division who work in the sewer billing component, that side of things. It's the licensed sewer operator, which is kind of a regulatory thing that the city has to have. Ours is through Block, what's the?
I don't know. Block.
DeBlock, I think, is the name of the vendor who is our licensed sewer operator.
How much is that?
Yep, that's it. So that's, again, I could get the specifics
The
for you.
600K, does it include those employees in City Hall that work in sewer division as well, or is there an additional expense?
That's the
separate.
additional one. That's what I mentioned, the finance
No, I
division.
know that was additional for employees, but then you added saying those, so are they inclusive of the DPW sewer? So as an additional expense, how much is that?
It's $150,000.
150K? And then what about the third-party contractor that we contract to do the sewer jetting and cleaning and things of that nature?
So that's all covered by the bond. So
Okay.
that's whenever we have the capital, we talk about the debt payments, and then we also have, kind of a capital line or an infrastructure line.
All right, so how much is that? The
Well,
vendor?
we use the bond to pay about $4 million every year. So that's what we pay the vendor, but the portion of it that gets charged is what the CFO mentioned. Each year, there's a portion of debt service in the $19 million.
I'm trying to be clear. The vendor who does the jetting, we pay them $4 million?
No.
So how much do we pay the vendor?
It's not to exceed, I want to say somewhere around 900,000, not to exceed, but we might pay them 1 year 300, 1 year 600. It depends on the work they do.
I'm sorry, can you clarify what you mean for the jetting?
You're talking about the cleaning of you're talking about when they go inside and look, right?
We have a third-party
cameras.
vendor that goes out, they have their own trucks, they come in here.
Yes.
They
Yeah.
clean sewer basins, they clean the basin across the street from Wendy's.
So I believe the contract is not to exceed 900,000, somewhere around. We may pay out different amounts every year, though.
So,
Okay,
yeah, so that's
listen,
not the emergency bonds. That's kind of a proactive one that we have that's much smaller.
So we're collecting, I'm just gonna, and if we can give a better report, it would be much more advantageous. We're collecting 19. We're borrowing on average 4 every year. So we're at 23 million. We're expending 14 million to the sewer utility, right?
So if I can just jump in, it's 14 million for Passaic Valley Sewage, about 3 million for debt payments, that's 17, about $1 million for infrastructure, that's 18 million right there.
Okay, so again, the debt payments, there has to be some detailed explanation on, we're not just gonna say, okay, this is debt payments. Debt payments obviously is being, absorbed by these various expenditures that we might bond or put them in debt services, but we still need to know what they are. We still need to know on average, if we're borrowing every year $4 million. Yeah, we understand that there's debt services, but why are we continuously borrowing $4 million every single year if the expenditures aren't adding up to additional $4 million a year? You don't just go out and borrow just because you're borrowing and then say we have debt services that we're borrowing money to pay back money that we've already borrowed for. So you're borrowing more money to pay back money that we're borrowing for. So this $4 million goes back into debt service.
No, this $4 million goes to pay for the emergency work that we need. So our payments to pay off the bonds go into the utility, and that's what we collect from the sewer bills. We pay down the debt service on any of the bonds that are due, and they're all kind of scheduled throughout the 30 years. We pay for our employees. We pay for the cleaning of through the treatment plant. Those are the main expenses that all get covered through the bills. And so utility has to kind of measure out. So we collect about 19 million and we spend about 19 million every year. So it's all put together. If we had to pay for the emergency work that we need every year without borrowing, we would have to increase the sewer bill so that we would have the revenue to cover this extra $4 million just completely from the bills and not through the bond.
So Madam BA, just that alone doesn't make sense. If you're collecting 19 million and only spending out 19 million, you don't need to borrow anything.
But this is part of, no, we do need to.
If your expenses are only 19 million, then why would you need to borrow anything?
It's
if you're
the
collecting
expenses,
19 million and then included in that, that's why I'm trying to get it.
we're not paying for the $4 million now. We're paying for the $4 million over 30 years. We're only paying a couple $100,000 on this $4 million now.
I know how the bonding works, Madam BA.
Well,
but again,
okay.
bonding is no different than taking out a home equity loan. If I'm collecting 19 million and my expenses are only 19 million to what your description is, because I'm trying to get a breakdown of costs. I'm trying to say, okay, we're spending out 14 million, and you didn't outline anything else that added up to 19.
I believe I did. I believe I did.
$600K for employees, 150, so that's still not even another $1 million. 900K for, what was the 900K for? Third-party vendor. There you go, I see your work over there. Third party, so that's figure another $1 million. That's about 1.7, $1.8 million. We have $5 million to play with. It's $5 million there.
Okay, so I'll say it again. 14 million for Pacific Valley Sewage, 3 million for debt service from all the other years that we've had sewer repairs and all that stuff.
Okay.
That's 17 million.
Yep.
And $1 million for infrastructure. That's 18 million.
Okay.
Now, if you add all the other little ones, about $1.5 million. That's
Okay.
19.5 million.
All right, so
Okay.
so there, 19 million, you've already covered debt services within that expenditure, within those expenditures.
You just said you understand how bonding works, so you're paying for stuff that you've done already.
Correct.
We have not paid for this $4 million.
The $3 million is paying for that. You just said the $3 million is going
Yeah,
to
debt service for stuff we already
Okay,
done
so
that we
that's already
borrowed.
in there. Why are we borrowing another $4 million?
Because this is for
Where's
another
this?
year.
This is for new repairs. This is for upcoming emergencies. So we've already borrowed 4 million from another year, and 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 back and back and back, and we only have to pay 3 million down on that borrowing now. So we've been spending over, 20 plus millions of dollars, but we're only paying down a portion of that this year.
All right, so I'm not going to leave this out any longer, Council President. If I could have a report on this $4 million a year repair expenditure, because at this pace, Councilwoman Cotton, what we've been talking about here, just on average, just from their tenure alone, if you take that $4 million a year every year,
Yes, but
Why are we still having sewer issues?
I have a lot of sewer collapse in my
But
ward.
$4 million
and that's-
a year,
I understand that.
every year, that's $12 million just in one term alone. $12 million, $16 million as a matter of fact. So $16 million, and I only see $200,000 in expenditures on this bill. Now, I get it, maybe there's additional,
Right.
but my point is, if we're presenting this, if this is being presented for an approval of a bond ordinance and we're gonna go back out, we should have a detailed list of outlining of why we are projecting $4 million. Last year, we expended this, here's the areas, these areas got repaired, these areas were
Right.
neglected, we have complaints here,
Right.
there's a flood area, like, we don't have, they're just asking for money and not doing their part
Well, I
with
can- I'm gonna-
outlining
I'm gonna-
what is the money for.
I'm gonna explain with mine. I know what mine went.
Yeah, but Council President, we
Council-
could provide.
Sure,
the-
Councilwoman, just a second.
No, I
You finished,
understand.
Councilman Jackson?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, Councilman Cotton?
I can understand, I mean, you hear me talk about sewer collapse constantly. I know that the city of Newark, the city of Jersey City, the city of Paterson are working together with a long-term plan to replace our combined sewer system is well over $1 billion. I'm not gonna see it in my lifetime. Some of us may, but what happens, I find, because I had Fair Street collapse, I had Broadway and East 23rd Street collapse that was done for like 2 months. It was so messed up for 2 months. The people who lived in that area couldn't really hardly get through because that sewer was so collapsed that they had to reconstruct the whole sewer. Now, as they open up the sewers, as they open up the roads, they're figuring out how to split it. That helps kind of split it to what the federal government is saying to all cities that got combined sewer system, you gotta change it. Are we gonna see it? I'm not sure. I don't think so. But we're getting sewer collapse, and I'm just gonna, right now, if you ride down Van Houten Street by Church Street, that sewer is collapsing. When you come across Church Street to Van Houten Street, you can feel it, you dip. You know, when I told them about East 18th Street, when you ride down East 18th Street, the manhole cover, you shouldn't dip. That means something is about to collapse. So I hear, but I think that what Councilman Jackson is saying, let's see what we put out last year for emergency repairs. Because this is just for emergency repair. And I know that some people may not like for the way the sewer, the building that they're getting for the sewer system. I want to let you know out there, I voted no to not build the way they build. So I just want to put that out there. But because we're getting so many sewer collapse
Yes.
from being a combined sewer system with,
Council.
huh?
We're gonna vote.
Okay, I know, but I'm just saying, and we've been working with Jersey City, Newark, and the city of Paterson, and our engineer who makes sure he do all those reports are no longer with us. We have to hire a firm to do these reports that the federal government mandates that we do.
Thank you,
This wasn't
Councilwoman.
discussion, this wasn't no vote. This was
Sure, no, and I'm just gonna say before the vote, this has been a very good discussion, a very healthy discussion, because the sewer bill is one of the most difficult bill that our taxpayer are paying right now. The sewer bill, Madam BA, for the next workshop meeting, if you could put that comprehensive list of of a full report of how much we're collecting. I know that Silva, you give us a detail of how you spend the 19 million, which is 14 million to Passaic Valley Sewer Commission, 3 million to, can you repeat that for the record to the members of the public?
3 million is a debt service payment
The debt service payment, so, and 1 million for,
for infrastructure payment.
so it's 1 million left, so in 18, 1.5.
Yeah, 1.5 is just about everything else. Salaries for the 2 sewer departments, OE for the sewer departments, and extra fringe benefits.
Correct, this is important. So Madam BA, if you could have the list,
Council
Madam
President.
Clerk,
Council President.
Councilman Velez.
Through the chair, Madam BA, do we need 6 votes for this, right?
No,
It's first.
It's two-thirds.
It's
It's a
first
first
reading that, and I don't think this is the
Okay,
bond
from there,
ordinance.
okay, from here. Second, Madam BA. Can you, there's some work out there and lists pending, Madam BA? Is there any work out there pending based on this bonding? Like, for example, in Summer Street, okay, between Morton and Essex and Market, there's two gigantic sinkhole, one after the other. I've been reporting it for longest. They went out and looked at it, but it's still sinking deeper. And I'm afraid that it's two-way. One is in one side and the other one is the other side coming out. Cars go deep and they're gonna fly, and they're gonna fly probably inside the property. So I already spoke to Ojeda today, Director Ojeda, to send somebody, I don't know if they're gonna send him again, to just tell me there's a sinkhole. I need immediate action there, because but for me, it's a collapsed sewer, because it's like connected with one with the other and the sewer is in the middle. So to take a look at that, if there's a list, not just emergency repair, but if there's a list of repairs, we need to be on top of it, because it's going to be bad. Let's keep in mind, our city sewer system is so old. The pipes, that's why you see a lot of flooding in some areas. Thanks God what they're doing in Route 20, that they're doing a great job for divert the water to the river. But inside the city, we have a lot of flooding because the sewers are collapsed.
Thank you, Councilman Velez. Madam Clerk, roll call on item number 2 on first reading.
Roll call on item number 2 on first reading. Councilwoman Cotton. Yes. Councilman Jackson.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. See, this is where the council is supposed to be responsible. This is where the rubber really is supposed to hit the road, right? When that expenditure across the street from Wendy's, that was a huge grease trap that was installed. We spent $4 million on that. Then it was down for a few years because of a change order, and it was an additional $3 million that was added to it. Honestly, I don't see enough work going on in the community, in the city, where we're spending $4 million a year in repairs. Like, if that is the case, we wouldn't have all these sinkholes. $4 million, we should have a plan to already divert ourselves off of the combined sewer. We're spending $4 million, and there's no description on what we're spending it on. This is, yet again, more irresponsible spending. And then, to make matters even worse, we removed the burden from the local, finance board, because we are now putting the burden directly on our taxpayers by collecting it from them, which should give us more responsibility. We should be more responsible if we've been asking, this sewer utility has been introduced over several years already. We should be outlining what is the plan to get us off the CSO. It doesn't matter if I come to the meeting, if I say the same things. Last year, 2 years ago, we were in the committee meeting. We're spending out, they're telling us we had 250 infractions for overran sewers. There's no detection devices on these sewers. We're spending the money, $4 million a year. We should be outlining where our sewers are making improvements. Not complaining about sinkholes and potholes every single year where there's no clear outline. We should have an area saying, you know what, this area for the last 4 years, we've been bonding $4 million a year, $16 million. This entire area has been totally repaired. We're now moving to eliminate the CSO, the combined sewers. We don't have any of that. We don't have no plan. We just continuously, taking on bills and just paying it. They present a bill to council, oh, sure, no problem here. We just pay it. Madam Clerk, my vote is no.
Thank you, Councilman Jackson. Councilman Kalik.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. This is for emergency sewer services. It does not mean that we have to spend all $4 million of it. Okay, that's one thing. Also, it might add to our debt service. At the same time, some of the debt service will go off. So with that $3 million we make into the debt service, you cover these $4 million payments. So I think we do it every year. We have been doing it every year. And also, we do need a plan. We do need to see a plan from our sewer division. For example, last year, what they have done and how much did they spend for this emergency appropriation that we did last year for the 4 million also, as I recall. So we do need that. Please send us an email, and my vote is yes, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Councilman Kalik. Councilman Udine.
My vote is yes, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Councilman Udine. Councilman Velez.
So the administration has all the bills and receive and call of service or this type of bond in the previous year. The question was raised today that she will submit that information with numbers and expenditure. And, the thing is that when we out there, and I probably, Council Rubicon is right, and other councilmen, when we out there in the streets and they tell us there's a problem in the sewer, what do you think we tell them we don't have the money to fix it? Then gonna get sink again, it's gonna be more problems and et cetera, et cetera. So we doing the fiscal responsibility to have the money to make sure the administration do the right thing. That's how we work. That's how we work. Not just, my vote is yes.
Thanks, Councilman Velez. Mr. President.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Just before my vote, I mean, we need to understand that Paterson is one of the oldest cities in the nation, the first industrial city in this nation also as well. Since this city is so old, we have so many problems with our sewer system that need to be repaired, that need to be replaced. We have a major challenge with this combined sewer situation that we have also as well. Also for the record, to my third ward resident, I request you, Madam BA, an update on the funding that we approved for the combined sewer on Brilliant Avenue, the sewer situation that we have, the flooding. So that's one of the biggest problems that I have in the third ward in that section. Brilliant Avenue, 18th Avenue, 17th Avenue, East 34th, East 35th. When it rains, that's the river, and we're going through that every year, year after year. So we allocated some funding. I request an update on the funding. So that's one of the biggest challenges that we have. I'm in favor of this bond because we need this bond for emergency. Mr. Silva, he explained line item by line item how we use the 19 million. But Madam BA, I make a formal request on a full report on the money that we spent last year and what we're spending, last year versus what we're allocating this year. So on the next workshop, we should have a conversation as a council, because this is a very good discussion to inform the public how we're spending the money that we're collecting, that heavy bill that our homeowners are paying, how we're using that money. So it's important that they know how they, where that money goes that they're spending, since we create that separate utility. So with that being said, we're expecting that response, Madam BA, and we're looking forward to have that discussion. My vote is yes, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. President. The votes are 5 yeses, 1 no, 3 absences. Item number 2 is approved for second reading.
Thank you, Madam BA. Item number 3, Madam BA.
Council President, before you move forward, I don't want to
Councilman Velez.
I don't want to touch the other subject on this one. Madam BA, this request is real important to bring it forward in the next workshop. If you want to bring a presentation, a PowerPoint presentation, and share it with the community, it will be good. But at the same time, I would like to, Mr. CFO, to also educate us, if we could say so, even that we know why one property has only one line, of the sewer, and they charging like they had like 4 property, different meters or whatever, So also educate us, the community, on that, because we getting calls, which one, that he still don't understand why his property only have 1 meter, 1 sewer system, 2 property inside it, and it's coming like a double on the sewer. And he's a little bit uncomfortable on that, still waiting for the answer on that. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman. Madam Clerk, item number 3.
Item number 3 is also a first reading ordinance. It's a bond ordinance providing for the road reconstruction and resurfacing program by and in the city of Paterson, the county of Passaic, state of New Jersey, appropriating $1,254,997 thereof, including a grant from the New Jersey Department of Transportation, and authorizing the issuance of $1,254,997 in bonds and notes of the city to finance the cost thereof.
So move.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Velez, second by Councilman Kalik and Councilman Udine.
Discussion?
Discussion, Councilman Udine. Before I open the floor, you're right. You're the first one. Madam BA, can you give us just details on this item number 3? Let the record reflect Councilman Abdelaziz is joining us on this regular meeting, 8:01 or 8:10. Welcome, Councilman. No, he just came with opening meeting. Madam BA?
Great, thank you, Council President. Yes, this is the bond ordinance to set up the account for the 2022 state aid grant from the New Jersey Department of Transportation. So the 3 streets, as we've kind of mentioned, these are the ones that just got paved. So it's 14th Ave from Madison Ave to East Side Park, it's Chamberlain Ave from Preakness to Lexington, and it's Cliff Street from Belmont to West Broadway. So it was that project that was funded by NJDOT. This allows us, by doing the bond ordinances, then it's how we pay for, and then we get reimbursed by the grant for the project.
So we bonding, but we're getting reimbursed at the same time.
Correct.
That's the explanation. Okay. Just to make it clear and to inform the public. Councilman Udine?
Thank you, Council President. Madam BA, if you recall that about 6 months ago, we hired, I think, third-party evaluator to evaluate city streets to make sure that which streets are due to repaved. If you have the list or estimated cost of those streets to be repaved, would be great if you can email me. And again, so many of the streets are due to be repaved, and that's why we need to know that which priority and which are be delayed as well. Thank you.
Yes,
Council
so
President.
Thank you.
Councilman Velez, if I could just answer that
One second,
before.
Councilman Velez, Madam BA.
Thank you. I know when the director was here, Director Rodriguez was here last time, he mentioned that that was something that he was going to be bringing forward to the DPW committee to discuss, because we did hire that firm. They've completed their project, and they're going to be, we're going to have the report on that. So that is imminent.
Please, thank you.
Yes,
Thank you. Councilman Velez. Thank you, Councilman Udine. Councilman Velez?
Yeah, Council President, and I got to read this, and the reason I want to bring this up, and probably some of the residents are going to agree with me, when the purpose in the back of this pending bond ordinance and summary is for, but should not be limited to applicable excavation, milling, paving, reconstruction, and boxing out and resurfacing of full depth pavement replacement, and where necessary, the sealing of pavement cracks, the repairing or curb ramps, and this is why I say this. There's people repaving our street and there's curb missing, and they not replacing that. And I spoke to the engineering department about this. There's some roads that they just repave it, and if they see a sidewalk missing, they just continue repaving. They don't even do the curve, and that's part of this. And I spoke to the past engineer to look into this because, for example, I went to one street in the 5th Ward. I noticed that there was some curve missing. They did one side, but they didn't do the other side, and it's the same street. So they didn't came back to me with why they didn't did it, but this have to look into it because, for example, on the 3rd Ward, you have street that don't have curve, but you got street that is missing curve in some section, and they're not doing that. So I understand they do the handicap ramp and then they do the curve for that section, but along the street there's some curb missing, and they assumption saying that's the homeowner responsibility. No, but when it says here, if you go to repave it, and there's some curb missing, they should be replaced. They should be put back. That's my say, because I see it here that it's covered that. So look into that they doing the whole scope of work, not just resurfacing it, but the whole scope of work that says here. Council President, I just want to say that.
All right, thank you, Councilman. If there's no more discussion on item number 3, Councilman Jackson.
Council President, more than likely, most of the time, and I'll have to read the rest of that before I can comment on that, but normally when a vendor comes in to do blacktop, they're a blacktop vendor. The vendors that are doing our curbs, they're subbed out, it's a separate contract. But the issue is, or the question I have is, Madam BA, so you're saying we're bonding for this and then it's a reimbursement. Is it a 100% reimbursement?
Yes, 100%.
So,
We're not bonding for it. We're just setting up the account.
I'm sorry?
It's basically a grant. We're not bonding for it.
So this isn't a bond ordinance?
It is a bond ordinance, yes, because it's a capital improvement. So it's going through the bonds, but we're not borrowing money for it. We're just setting up the account, and then we get the grant money back. We send the bills after the work is done, and then we just get it back from the state.
We send the money, we pay the bill and then we're reimbursed.
Correct.
So the money that we utilize to pay comes from where?
From the city, from the cash we have on hand.
Okay. All right, very good.
Thank you. And for the record, Silva, this is a DOT grant. This grant comes from the Department of Transportation. All right, correct. Roll call on item number 3, Madam Clerk.
Roll call on item number 3. Councilman Abdelaziz?
Yes.
Councilman Jackson?
Yes.
Councilman Khalid?
Yes.
Councilman Udin?
Yes.
Councilman Velez?
My vote is yes.
I'm sorry, Madam Clerk. I need to change my vote, please. I apologize. Relative to Mr. Silva's description, I mean, obviously, I'm willing to support anything for the necessity of road resurfacing, but this is I have to be able to read the rest of the resolution. It says clearly, in authorizing the issuance of 1.2 for bond and notes for the city finance the cost therefore. I don't understand how it's a bond ordinance and we're authorizing it to issuance these funds for bonds and notes, but he's saying it's not coming from a bond. And until that's outlined clearly, I'm not willing to support it. My vote is no, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Councilman Jackson. Council President?
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Mr. Silva, right after my vote, I want you to reiterate, because for the public, how this is worked, because on the ordinance on first reading, what we're reading is a bond ordinance, but we understand that the grant will cover this bond. So make sure right after my vote you put it on the record. That way, we also going to have the opportunity for more discussion on second reading, but I want to make sure that we all clear on what we're voting for. With that being said, my vote is yes, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. President. Councilwoman Cotton is absent. So the votes are 5 yeses, 1 no, 3 absences. Item number 3 is hereby approved. Public hearings on items number 1, 2, and 3 will be at the regular meeting of December 12, 2023.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ms. Silva.
So again, that's, I guess, it's legal terms. All bond ordinances have legal terms on them. They all pretty much, I believe, have about the same legal terms. Again, since this is a grant, it's getting supplemented by the grant. We have cash on hand, so we don't borrow for it. But since it's a capital improvement, it has to go on capital, which has to be a bond ordinance.
Understood. Council member, if there's any additional discussion,
Council President.
Councilman Jackson.
We've taken on grants from all types of, from the state, from the federal government, never do we go out as for a bond. And what is concerning me is, let's just say for argument, this is a bond, we're borrowing this money. Then they're reimbursed, but they're not paying the bond back right away. They may take that grant, put it in the general fund, and spend it, and not pay this back, and then this becomes debt services. So as long as this is not clearly outlined, if this was being paid for already from a line item, we should have a line item in the budget. This is outlined or laid out specifically for road resurfacing. We're gonna expend this and then reimbursed, and we anticipate being reimbursed by a bond. By a grant. You don't get reimbursed by a grant and call it a bond.
Council President?
Just Councilman Delacy, just a second. That's a key question, Mr. Silva, whether once we get it with bonding, once we get in the money back, do we put the money in the general account? How the process works? Can you explain that?
Council President.
Just a minute, right? You go right after, just a minute.
Point of order, Council President. This item was just voted on?
Yes, we voted on.
There's no discussion on it. Can we go on to the next agenda?
Councilman Delacy, this meeting is on TV, we're bonding, and this is a grant from the Department of Transportation. This information is extremely important for the public, to where they create the community. Councilmember,
Point of order. He just put a point of order. It's true.
I understand that. Once, Councilman Delacy.
I don't disagree with the public, but you could do that at the end. This item just passed. It should have been, this discussion should have happened after.
It passed. Let me, as soon as I'm going to allow Mr. Silva to finish. So if you finish, we're getting ready to open the public portion. Mr. Silva, you finished with that, right?
So again, this is state aid road resurfacing. We've done this the same way for, I believe, the last 30 years. I can provide everything we bonded and everything that we've gone out and borrowed money from, if that would make the councilman feel better. But again, this is the same process for the last 30 years.
Thank you, Mr. Silva. Now, members of the public, we're ready to open public portion. Let me remind everybody that you have 3 minutes. You have a clock in front of you. So when you get close into the 3 minutes, please wrap it up. And let's not forget to wish a happy Thanksgiving to your loved one as well. Madam Clerk?
We have item number 5 that was removed from the consent agenda.
Yes, we will treat item number 5 right after the public portion.
Okay.
I'm trying to do public portion at close to 8 o'clock. I know we have members of the public that need to go home early because they work tomorrow. So, especially you have a teacher here. Are you off? Okay, well, Madam Clerk, next first speaker of the night, Madam Clerk.
Yes, Mr. President. The first speaker is Reverend Damian Barrett.
Good night, everyone. My name is Damian Barrett, 3rd Ward. I'm a local pastor here who is joining with many pastors who are also concerned about serving God faithfully and ministering in the city. One of my expressions is to come here and just to read from God's Word. I've been reading from the book of John, and I've reached up to John chapter 4, which has the story of the woman at the well. So Jesus was talking to this woman at the well, and Jesus said to her, "Go call your husband and come here." The woman answered him, "I have no husband." Jesus said to her, "You are right in saying I have no husband, for you have had 5 husbands, and the one you now have is not your husband. What you have said is true." The woman said to him, "Sir, I perceive that you are a prophet. Our fathers worshipped on this mountain, but you say that in Jerusalem is the place where people ought to worship." Jesus said to her, "Woman, believe me, the hour is coming when neither on this mountain nor in Jerusalem will you worship the Father. You worship what you do not know. We worship what we know, for salvation is from the Jews. But the hour is coming and is now here when the true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and in truth. For the Father is seeking such people to worship him. God is spirit, and those who worship him must worship in spirit and truth." The woman said to him, "I know that Messiah is coming, he who is called Christ. When he comes, he will tell us all things." Jesus said to her, "I who speak to you am he." Just then his disciples came back. They marveled that he was talking with a woman. But no one said, "What do you seek?" or "Why are you talking with her?" So the woman left her water jar and went away into the town and said to the people, "Come see a man who told me all that I ever did. Can this be the Christ? They went out of the town and were coming to him. Meanwhile, the disciples were urging him, saying, Rabbi, eat. But he said to them, I have food to eat that you do not know about. So the disciples said to one another, has anyone brought him something to eat? Jesus said to them, my food is to do the will of him who sent me and to accomplish his work. Do you not say, there are yet 4 months, then comes the harvest? Look, I tell you, lift up your eyes and see that the fields are white for harvest. Already the one who reaps is receiving wages and gathering fruit for eternal life, so that sower and reaper may rejoice together. For here the saying holds true, one sows, another reaps. I sent you to reap that for which you did not labor. Others have labored, and you have entered into their labor. Many Samaritans from that town believed in him because of the woman's testimony. He told me all that I ever did. So when the Samaritans came to him, they asked him to stay with them, and he stayed there 2 days. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pastor. Next speaker, Madam Clerk.
Next speaker is Mr. Eddie Olivares.
Good evening, all.
Good evening.
I want to talk a little bit about what happened the last time that I was here. I guess it was the 24th of October, if I'm not mistaken. That was a Tuesday. The following Wednesday, the next day, my phone was ringing off the hook. You would think the world was coming to an end because of things that I've said here. Many in the black community were upset because they claimed that I said that it is not important to pray. Well, for anybody that was here, if I remember correctly, what I said was that it is important to pray, but it's not enough. We can come here every single Tuesday evening and we can pray the whole night. We stay here, hours on end, nothing will change. The only thing we could do is ask for guidance from the above, from God, Allah, whatever we want to call the entity. And we have to take that wisdom, if I may, and turn it into an action. And at the end of the day, you're here to fix the city. Well, it's not working. Another thing that was said was the Hispanic community was upset. They wanted blood because I said that Mr. Jackson may be the only one that is not crazy when it comes to some of the things that he says. I was referring to specifically the fact that on many occasions I have heard Mr. Jackson say that we have to take drastic measures to fix the problems of our city. The crime, the drugs, the filth, the prostitution, I can go on and on and on. And show of hands, any of you think we don't have to take drastic measures? Why are some people upset over that? We do have to take drastic measures. If you know, the Attorney General taking over the police department is not a sign that we have to take drastic measures, then you're not paying attention, guys. And so, you know, I want to conclude with this because it is upsetting to come over here and then have people from the black community or the Latino community or whoever it is. When I come to this microphone, I don't come as a Christian. I don't come as a Latino. I do not come as a Muslim. I do not come as a black man. I come as a Patersonian. I am black. I am Muslim. I am Christian. I am everything that we have in this city. I am. And your job is to make sure that you fix the problems of this city. Well, guess what, guys? You are really not doing a good job. And I am going to conclude with this. You know, I would like to see more of you guys say no for a change. This yes to everything. You're giving away the city. It's our city. You're giving it away. Every Tuesday you come over here and it's yes, 4 million for this, yes, for me. I find out that we can't even
Please
fix
wrap
the
it up,
streets.
Mr. Olivares.
That's not the biggest problem we have, the streets. It's crime, it's drugs, it's prostitution, kids killing themselves, and you can't even fix the streets.
Next speaker, Madam Clerk.
Next speaker, Mr. Keamy Freeman.
Mr. Freeman.
Pastor told me not to use profanity, and
Thank you, Pastor.
Make a new term.
Appreciate it. We need you every Tuesday here.
Don't take it personally, Alex. My mother taught me how to curse, and that was the only way I could survive in the Fourth Ward. You couldn't look until I got big enough to fight guys back here. I had to curse and keep them off. But let me go on. Kimmy Freeman, 3rd Ward. I'm gonna do a 3-minute drill. I'm gonna talk about what's happening outside, what's happening in our nation, and what's happening in Paterson. As an American-born citizen, I totally object to the $15 million that we're sending to Israel and to the Ukraine. I'm sorry. As a historian and a person who has studied in the Middle East, served in the Middle East, have family in the Middle East and in Africa, I do say that we do need to redesign our policies. And what President Carter tried to do back in the late 70s was to make a 2-state Palestine and for the Jews. As a person who is of Jewish heritage and of Christian heritage, I understand with this thousands of years of war that the religions have perpetrated amongst each other. And I call for peace, but not at the sake of one against the other or one is better than the other. Today, while I had Mike Taylor, we saw the Palestinian protest that was over here by the building over there, and I stopped. And Brother Khalid showed me his family there. And Brother Al has told me about his family there. I got a call yesterday from the Black Hebrew community there, and they're telling me things that are going on there. I asked our government to, at least our government, there's another thing too, I don't have much time. The UN has condemned the constant barrage of Gaza and its people, and the whole world is asking Israel to stop this, have a ceasefire. I think in the interests of our children, the children there, and I know what I'm saying, I think there should be a 2-state solution to this so we can end this war, a war that's been going on forever. I just want to say, as a social studies teacher, I showed the movie Kingdom of Heaven. And if you know this movie, it gives you a great insight to the Crusades. It gives you a great insight to Saladin, who's a hero of mine. This man, and in the movie, they showed that Jerusalem does not just belong to one people. Jerusalem, the people that were there before the Hebrews came, and I'm Hebrew, before the Christians came, and before the Muslims came, there were people already there. Yeah, check it out, look. There were people already there. So we have to solve this, just like we have to solve everything else, like in the United States. And I think that our integrity and our integrity of the country, we have to secure our borders.
Please wrap it up, Mr. Freeman.
And I will leave with this. The black citizens of Chicago have filed a $1 billion lawsuit against the United States of America and the city of Chicago. We cannot support the 7 million illegal aliens that are coming to our country illegally. I say the word illegally. We cannot sustain this. This is costing us $250 billion a year and $2 billion already so far for New York City.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman.
Okay?
Thank you. Next speaker, Madam Clerk.
Next speaker, Mr. Sebastian Mejia.
Good evening, Paterson.
Good evening.
My name is Sebastian Mejia. As many of you may know, I am a candidate for the 5th Ward Council seat here in the city of Paterson. Firstly, pardon my voice. One of the issues that I look forward to addressing in the city of Paterson is the overdevelopment and gentrification that we are living through. And one of the things that is related to that we spoke on this evening is our sewer system. Our sewer system, as you all know, is outdated, it is very old, and it is overburdened, as it is now. So can you imagine with me, once all the planned mixed-use developments are put up and built, imagine the strain that all of these new toilets, all of these new showers, all of these new sinks are gonna have on our sewer system, okay? So that's a serious issue that we as a community have to look into, that we cannot be rubber stamping any new development that comes into the city, especially given the state of the sewer system that we have. One of the issues as well that is directly correlated to the overdevelopment and gentrification here in the city of Paterson, as you all know, is the parking situation. It is causing a challenging parking situation in this city, which is one of the most highly dense populated cities in our country. You know, as a candidate and as an advocate for our residents, I get many phone calls with residents and constituents that are concerned with the parking situation, especially on days like today when some of our streets had street cleaning and the inspector was 3 blocks ahead of the street sweeper and they were already giving out tickets. So the people have nowhere to park their cars, yet it feels like the constituents are fitting the bill for our financial shortcomings, and we're being burdened with taxes, bill increases, and also tickets. So I would like to bring that issue up. And also for our educators, for our school administrators and school staff, many of them have reached out to me because they are concerned also with the street cleaning, that when they are in the buildings, not all of our schools have private parking, that when they are in the buildings educating our children, they're getting street sweeper tickets. So if I would love to get word back from the administration or from the council, what can we do to look out for, and I'll wrap up shortly, Council President.
Go ahead.
What can we do to look out for our educators so that they're not receiving street cleaning tickets? Possibly look into the possibility of giving them some kind of a permit, parking permit, or some kind of a signage so that we don't lose educators. As we all know, there is a nationwide teacher shortage. I don't want to see any teachers leave the city of Paterson because there's no parking for them. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, Madam Clerk.
The next speaker is G. Greer.
All rise.
Good evening.
Good evening, Brother G.
I don't think I've been here since this new system is here.
You can take 5 minutes.
I guess it is what it is.
You can take 5 minutes.
First of all, I want to say I had a very great meeting this evening with the mayor, councilwoman of the 4th Ward, Cotton, and the team that's going to redo Barber's Park. We saw the final drawing this evening, and I can tell you this council, you guys know how I feel about Barber's Park. I would say 99% of the things that we asked for is there. So we'll take it. It's gonna look better than it looks right now. But down the road, we would definitely like to have a restroom in that park instead of a porta potty. We would like to see that in all our parks. You know, we really would, because have you ever tried to use one of those potties? Like, and just imagine, like all those kids that come through there in the 4th Ward that has to use that. It's not sanitized. I mean, don't get me wrong. When we have events in the park, I have my own sanitizing equipment, and I usually do it myself. I sanitize the play area, the restrooms. But moving forward, we really need to install some nice bathrooms in all our city parks, and put a team together to go around and make sure all the restrooms are clean. So, council members, when that comes before you, do whatever you need to do to, you know, speed up the process. I understand it has to go out to bid and all of that good stuff, but at some point it's going to come back to the council members, and you know how the Barber Park Association feels about that park. For years it was drug infested. I think we did a heck of a job cleaning it up, and it wasn't just me, it's a whole team, especially Victoria. She was the first ones to pick up needles and actually bring those needles here in this chamber. So once again, when Barber Park comes before you, just think about the children of the 4th Ward. I don't believe that there was no park renovated yet in the 4th Ward. Am I correct, Councilwoman? Yeah, so this would be the first park, and I see Vera Ames Park is on the list as well. And then we have another park in the 4th Ward that definitely needs some special attention, and that's on 12th Ave. And I just learned tonight that the city owns the property next to the 12th Ave playground, and I never knew this. So do what you need to do to fence that in, because it's not fenced in at all. It's an illegal dumping site, and if it can get fenced in, and then moving forward, if we can get that playground together. Council President, I heard the bell, but one last thing I want to say to the 74,000 residents of Paterson who did not vote yesterday, and I want to thank Councilman Al for giving me the correct numbers. I know it was 60,000 plus, but today I just found out that it's 74,000 residents.
I didn't vote.
74 registered voters who did not vote in this past election. And I want to say to the residents, I mean, you have to find a way to get to the polls. I mean, they made it easy now. They got early voting. You can vote early. Like, when I was when I was 18, 19, we didn't have that. So now they make it easy for you. You can vote by mail. Folks, you need to make your way to the polls. Nothing against Al in the 6th Ward, but the 6th Ward cannot be selecting our elected officials, okay? And this goes out to all the wards. We cannot have all the votes coming from the 6th Ward, okay? So on that note, I'm gonna say good night. I look forward to the renovations of Barber Park. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother G. Next speaker, Madam Clerk.
The last speaker, Daniel Mejia.
Daniel.
Didn't come up.
Hello. Hello.
6 one didn't come up.
No.
You gotta look at the number.
3rd Ward came out better. I think we got more votes in the 3rd one.
2nd and 3rd.
Brother G, the 3rd Ward got more votes than the 6th Ward, by the way. Just in case, Brother G, get your number. Good evening, Mejia. Welcome.
Hello. My name is Daniel Mejia, and I am the CEO of Silk City One. Silk City One is a QR code which I plan to install on every door with the goal of providing the people the following 3 options within the website itself. The first option that would be the city jobs, which will be divided between governmental and local jobs. The second option, it will be city events, which would be divided also into events provided by the people and events for businesses, with the goal of every business being able to, we will select once a week a few businesses within the same street to make it more of a one-stop shop for the people. From there, they'll be able to try out new foods at a deducted rate. So, yeah. And then the third option, that would be for you, the council members or the elects or electees, where you will present yourself to the people and also tell them what's your vision for the city. On the bottom of that, there will be a more about section where the people would be able to read your background and history. And then you would also have a checklist of things that need to be done within the city, which the people have mentioned Silk City 1. We're asking for 25 cents per home with the goal of, with the money that we receive, be able to clean the river through the method of hydroponics and aquaponics. This would also create agricultural opportunities for those who want to study on agriculture. And the fruits that are being produced would be given to the schools and to those places that are giving the food out to the public for free. I was asking for 25 cents per home. I wanted to know on how could I go about either having it passed on the agenda so it could be passed as a bill, or so it could go through Mooney's or municipal bond itself. And that's about it.
Thank you. Thank you. Next speaker, Madam Clerk.
There are no more speakers.
Move to close.
Move to close by Councilman Velez, second by Councilman Kalik. Roll call to close public portion.
Roll call to close the public portion of the regular meeting of Thursday, November 9, 2023. Councilman Abdelaziz.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. So before my colleagues get very, very upset with G. Greer's comment, the 6th Ward is actually the smallest ward by population. And what G. Greer, I think, is insinuating is I want to commend and thank all the 6th Ward residents for coming out and voting on Tuesday and voting as a unit and as a community, because when we do support candidates, we vote and make sure we support the people that are going to make the city better and make the ward better. So, G. Greer, you're all right. I want to don't thank me. I want to thank the residents of the 6th Ward that take voting very, very serious, and they vote for people that are going to impact the city in a better way. And they showed it again on Tuesday, and that's what makes our ward great, because we hold elected officials accountable, and my residents hold me accountable. Every single month at our meetings, they hold me accountable and make sure that I continue delivering for the 6th Ward. And I want to thank them again for trusting me and considering the people that I think is going to help us better the city and the 6th Ward. So this election's down. We're gearing up for May. No, I'm not saying there's a lot of races that are close to call right now, but we're gearing up, Councilwoman Khan. This election's closed in my books, and we're gearing for May 2024 and getting ready for that election that I will be running for re-election, God willing. My vote is yes.
Councilwoman Cotton.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let me just try to make it clear for Councilman Al-Aziz. When they did the redistricting in 2022, they were supposed to. The law states that each ward is supposed to have the same amount of people.
It does.
That's what it's supposed to be.
It does.
And what happened in the 1st and the 4th ward? 2,200 out of the 1st, 900 out of the 4th. Now, where they put those people, I have no idea. I said that was too much to interrupt people like that, to take them out and put them, and now you're saying you got the least amount of people. The law does not say that. The law, listen, I don't care what you read, but I'm saying when they reline, everyone's supposed to have the same amount in each ward. That's the rule. So I don't want to hear it. No, but I'm saying that's why they do redistricting every 10 years. For wards that get more people than others, they change it around So they put more into other things. It's not about voting. But I just want to say to the preacher man, he left, but I just want to clear that up. I'm saying I went to the hearing and I stated to them, you're disrupting too many people at one time. 2,200 in the first, 900 and something in the fourth. You're disrupting them, but it went on deaf ear. They still did what they did. But I just want to say also to the preacher, I'd love to hear him come in. He left already. I just want to say also with the CSO, with the sewer collapse, this has been a major problem for many, many years, way before we even got, any of us started sitting here, what's happening. And you can tell sometimes, what I do, I look closely when they do street paving. I look at these contractors to see who do a better job than others. I let them know that when they doing a contractor did Rosa Parks Boulevard, a horrible job. He paved over collapsed sewer lines. You could tell right away, because if you pave and it's open within a month, then you know something went wrong. He did something that he should not. I want to say to you, Roger, thank you for coming out tonight for the meeting about Barber Park. We must move on. I believe that the 12th Avenue Park, which I brought up in the meeting, I think that, they really didn't own it. They owned part of it, but they needed those lots in the back on Godwin Street side. So hopefully we can get it going. There's a process of getting stuff. You got to get the contract. You got to go out for bid. You got to open the bid. It's a lot. So I just want to say, Roger, thank you for coming out and hearing about Barber Park. Danielle, you talk about the Silk One every meeting that you come to. And I know you had sent something out about knowing how to, for each people to get to know who their candidates are, who represents the ward. What I find sometimes is that I'm here every day just about, and my secretary's there, and my Madam Clerk. Sometimes people call this office, and they don't want to talk to them. They want to talk to a council person. I don't want to talk to the secretary. I want to talk to a council person. And you know what they say now? I don't care who's there. I just want to talk to someone who's on the city council. I want to speak to someone. So there's a lot. I believe that, we working together. I know. And when I get texts on my phone about what's happening over there in Gaza, and it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking to hear all the children that are being killed. Children, they haven't even had a chance on life yet. Just being, it's just absolutely hard. But I just want to just close out this with there's so much stuff that you know what? I know they. I know Mike Councilman over there, he's trying to say why he got less people. I don't know why he wants to think he got less people. Ain't no fact. I know.
Councilwoman, we close in public portion, Councilwoman.
In 2012, the law stated that each ward is supposed to have the same amount of people. That's all I got to say. So that's why they didn't touch the 6th ward. That's why they didn't touch certain wards. Why? I don't know why. But with that being said, Madam Clerk, my vote is yes to close there.
Thank you, Councilwoman Cotton. Councilman Jackson?
Our vote is yes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We all know why they took all those voters out of the 1st ward. We all know why they're trying to truncate the 1st ward in anticipation of trying to take what they believe is my support base. But that's going to work totally against the way they assumed, and they couldn't just take it from the 1st only, and not so Councilwoman, you were just a casualty of war, if you will. But listen, relative to some of the things that have been talked about today, I saw a press conference in Chicago where a group of individuals came together to talk about how, those of us who've been here, who've suffered through, who've paved the way, are being truly left out of the process. We're being excluded. When the influx of migrants have come in and they're being put up in 5-star hotels, being paid $9,000 a month, and subsidized income, and you have members of our community who are, you know, still suffering through the same issues. And as we continue to come here and look at all this money that's being spent, I think the gentleman was right. You know, there must be a need of there is a need of accountability. You know, relative to the example, for me, it just doesn't make sense. If I have $19 to spend and I'm borrowing an additional $4 every single week, and I'm expending, it's still, you're borrowing, it's increasing your overall budget. So the council needs to be a little bit more astute on how we're spending money. Further, when you look at the conditions of our sewers, we're just spinning our wheels in the mud. We're mashing the gas, putting money into it, but we're just spinning our wheels in the mud. We're not making any progress. There's no progress reports on what the conditions of our sewer and things of that nature. So it's all relative, Brother Mejia. When you look at the squandering of the money, outsourcing to third-party contractors and things of that nature, and then they turn right back around, they hit the taxpayers with sewer utility bills, and you still get banged when it comes to ticketing. And, you know, I'm getting phone calls from seniors that are like, listen, I can't afford this. And they're picking and choosing where in the communities that these summonses are being written. The street cleaner comes sometimes. Then when they do come, you get ticketed and towed. Or not towed any longer, but anyway. There is a need for accountability from this council. And until this council becomes more diligent on its actions and holding the administration accountable, we're just going to continue down the same spiral. We're just a doormat. Yes, Matt. Yes to everything. Now, with that being said, Brother Greer, got to make a big correction, because, you know, I get phone calls from every single ward, members of every single ward, and people that are frustrated. And the 6th ward just as well. Those residents haven't come out, just like all the residents in the other community, in the other wards haven't come out either, because the residents are just, they're so frustrated with voting every year and getting the same results, that there's a level of people just becoming numb to the conditions. They're not coming out any more than anyone else. In fact, if you look at the numbers, they're pretty much on par all over. First ward's numbers was higher. I mean, not that they weren't, it's not anything to brag about. When you're talking about school board representatives that are in charge of an $800 million budget, getting elected with 2,400 votes. 2,400 votes. You know, some of the property owners around here can control that easily. They got maybe more than 2,400 residents. That's something that we really need to look at. When you look at these numbers right here, and you look at, you know, virtual people that just popped up out of nowhere, and all of a sudden, that's letting you know that the vote count is so small. But I'm gonna just say this. Hats off to my Republican counterpart over there, Ms. Pino, because we already know that the Democratic Party has had a stronghold in the machinery that's on here, from people just being uneducated in their voting. For her to be short only 3,000 votes, I take my hat off to her. That means, hey, keep on grinding, and we're gonna start seeing some changes here. And those of you that saw my page, I posted a gentleman from Ohio, a black person, saying, listen, black community, you must stop voting party and vote interest. Vote for the people who have your best interests in mind, because obviously, if you continue to vote for this party, then just like the gentleman talked about before, if you think everything is okay here, then something's wrong with you. You need a new pair of glasses. And if we believe that we're getting what we've been supporting, what we've been sold, I'm going to just say this. And Brother Greer, you could just answer by a nod, or those of you at home, answer by a wave to the camera, to the television. How many times a year do you see the Sheriff's Department doing functions at the Masonic Temple? They do functions there every 2 years. It's during election time. They rent the Masonic as their campaign headquarters. They come in here and they snatch up all these black votes, and they never come back again. There's no sponsored events there, no fried chicken being fried in the parking lot, no officers. If there's an event there, they got to pay for it. But yet, during election season, we're going to come rent out the facility. We're going to buy White Castle. You know, well, the mayor bought White Castle when Cory Booker came here. So anyway, listen, wake up, people. You continue to vote, party all you want to, not doing your research on who's running and not voting interest, you're going to get exactly what you deserve, what you've been getting, So shout out to my brother, Billy Pimpray. We're going to get ready to, I'm going to go out here on his show as I announce my conversion from Democrat to independent because, listen,
Council members, please, council member, we're closing the public portion. Okay.
You don't hear me saying anything while he's talking, because nothing he says ruffles me. Nothing he talks about is even a concern to anybody that I know. But every time I'm talking, he can't even sit still in his seat over there. He's squirming like he got worms in his pants. He can't even be quiet. He can't conform. Council president just doesn't have what it takes to keep the meeting under control. He's always bickering, always talking, always being disrespectful. And yet I sit here patiently, quietly, say my part, and I get the heckling from the cheap seats. But listen, I'm glad he feels that way. Keep feeling comfortable because guess what? Councilman Jackson has woken up a lot of people. And the calls I'm getting on a daily basis, they're growing. It's not just the same people coming to the podium. It's a lot of people coming in, making people squirm in their chairs, you know, putting people in uncomfortable situations. People are not going to stay asleep forever. And even if they wake up only one time, guess what? That one time is all it takes. That one time is all it would take. With that being said, Madam Clerk, my vote is yes.
Thank you, Councilman Jackson. Councilman Khalid.
Madam Clerk, I'm falling in sleep. I think we're closing the public portion. My vote is yes.
Thank you,
to close the public portion.
Thank you, Councilman Khalid. Councilman Udin.
It's a lack of intellect.
Council member, and council member, we're closing the public portion, and I don't think that as a president I have to treat my council colleague like we are in the daycare. Everybody should know how to respect the time of every person. Please, we close the public portion.
Thank you, Council President. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you to the public, those who are here. Good evening, Paterson. Just to thank everyone, those who are watching or those who are here. And again, those who participated in the last election, again, we have to participate in the elections. Very important. Doesn't matter what direction, who's the candidate you vote for, but you need to vote for. Because if you just complain for the sake of complain, it's not going to bring the solution, but you have to make sure that you participate, you have to practice your voting rights. So those who participated, thank you so very much for doing so. I really have a question to Daniel Mejia, because every time you showed up to so many council meetings, you gave pretty much same explanation of your app, right? And we never reach out to you back because we have no answer. But one thing I can suggest that you came up with so many features that you mentioned about your app can cover all the job positions. You can also write about all the council members, administrators, anything going on in the city that can cover on the app. My point is that if your app covers that many features, you don't really need money from the citizens. You can just roam your app, and if you cover all those things, people will go advertise on your app. You can make more money than what you're expecting. Just a suggestion that I can put on the place. Because if your app covers, because think about so many apps out there, they don't charge money from the users, but they charge money from the people, those who are putting their advertisement there. Because if your app covers, because think about all the job positions, they're coming on the air. You can get update on the, like today job position came, it's on the air. If your app has that access, you can bring up there. This is easy access for the people. They don't have to go to a website, look for the jobs, but your app has that. If you want to talk about any council members, their positions, you can do so. You can take public forums. You can do many other features that you are speaking about, but don't really wait on the people to pay you 25 cents, because if your app has that many features, people will go advertise on your apps. If I'm a council candidate, I'll advertise on your app because your apps has more viewers than any other locations. So why don't you roam it? Instead of, I know you're spending your time, you're a brilliant mind, and you're sharing about your app and great things you're coming up with. But truly, if you put it on, roaming and stream, you will see that so many people are supporting you. As of now, everything is very hypothetical. It's very hard to imagine what your app is going to cover. So I would really encourage you to do so, to roam it, and whatever support, the community will support you. People really put their advertisement on your app if you have that many features to be covered. So thank you for coming up with this, because you came so many times, emailed so many times, and I definitely will support you on this. To Sebastian Mejia, you are one of the very important figure, I would say, community activist. And again, I do agree with you, all the overdevelopment that we have in our city, the parking crisis that we have, that's really true. It's a true concern, because we are, if you think about all the development, we are just bringing people in the city of Paterson, nothing else, bringing people, but we are not thinking about the crisis that we are just putting on the street and in the school system at the same time. Because all the population coming, where are they going to park? We have to come up with certain idea that we need packet parking. That's very important. If you have 10 buildings out there, we need an option to have a packet parking on the certain areas, at least whether paid or non-paid, options for people to park on the place. And as well, that we are having, you are a school, work in the school system as well. Our classroom sizes now overflowed, and that actually degrading our quality of education in our Paterson public school system. So we have to think at the same time that the community we are bringing in the city of Paterson are those developers investing to our school system, to our parking. So we have to keep them accountable on those matters, and I truly believe that we need to have that. If we have the development, we have to make sure that they have required parkings available. What happens is sometimes those who are commissioners on the zoning and planning board, sometimes we have the lease agreement of the certain development that's coming, let's say 5 years lease agreement, but after 5 years, who go and check whether they have renewed their agreement with the parking lot or not? Nobody checked that. And one time they approved, nobody go back and check. So we have to make sure that we have parking available for everyone. We cannot just give away, variances that, you don't need to, or variances of parking. I think we should stop that. With that being said, again, thank you, Madam Clerk. My vote is yes to close the public portion.
Thank you, Councilman Udine. Councilman Velez?
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I was going to just a yes vote and let's go, right? But I cannot ignore sometimes some things that come forward. And then TV's on, people take this back home, and they believe everything that they say back and forth. And then some of us over here on this side feed it and then make it like it was a real fact of it. So, first of all, I just want to thank the Reverend Bennett, that one that came over here. I spoke to him the other day, a couple weeks ago, and I thank him because every time that he used the podium, the 3 minutes, he read his scripture. That's what he does only. Come up here, read the scripture, and leave happy, preaching the word on time and season. and that's a good thing. Every time he comes up here, I sit back and listen because it's a good thing to listen to the scripture. There was a gentleman that came forward and said that it's time to us to vote no until we don't see change. That voting no will probably do the change that the people requesting. I just want to invite anyone that comes to this podium and look at the agenda that we have. Listen, Councilman Abdulaziz. For the person that says that we should start voting no until we see change. So I invite them to learn the system a little bit. You want to sit here. Everything that we have here is the community agenda. If you look at the economic development, that is part of the community agenda. If you look at the finance, it goes back to the community. If you look at the DPW agenda, it goes back to the DPW agenda. So if I vote at a 95% of this agenda that you see here, at 100%, 95, or I could say 97.9% is city business that goes back to the community and the taxpayers. The other remaining percent, you know what is it? Street renaming, resolution honoring people, et cetera, et cetera. But all the agenda that we approve tonight goes to committee, comes to us to vote, and everything had to be towards the benefit of the 160 plus thousand residents we have in Paterson. So if we voted all no, your garbage collection will not get picked up, your street cleaning will not do. You know, I don't know a corporate council how I could explain this more, right? But I already spoke to Mr. Freeman, and I just want to be clear that the federal government, also ICE, Homeland Security, or whoever deal with immigrants in our country, you know, eliminate the word illegal aliens. Nobody's aliens if you're a human being. So nobody's alien. I have to clarify that. There's other proper way to call them, non-resident, non-United States citizen, or whatever. So there's a situation. People saying that the government is investing a lot of money into the people that comes here from other countries and looking for a better life and getting away from those communist country. Billions and trillion monies is sent to address the homelessness and the problem that the state has, the United States has. So people had to take advantage of it. The city invests in a lot of programs out there, and trust me, you know that lady that asks money every day over there in the corner of Straight Street in a wheelchair? You know how many times she get moved out of there, come back again? And not only that, they drop her off there, and they pick her up in a car and take her away. I see it in myself. So help is out there. People needs to make sure they take it. Now, I have a good communication with the 12 plus schools that I have in the 5th Ward. Those that don't know how this works should learn. How many people know Dayton Price? He used to be a lieutenant for the Paterson Police. Dalton Price, right? Now he works for the head security for the schools. Yes. Those that don't know could come up here and say that they're giving tickets to teachers, that it's not fair. So let me give you a little history. School number 13, right? School number 13 in the 4th Ward, if you don't know, that's not in the 5th, on the 4th Ward, their parking lot was inside the school. The school district decided to put a basketball court and a playground. Whose fault is it? It's not ours. Learn history. Learn your word. The other thing is, and my colleagues knows here, that I sit in DPW chair since I got elected. The district has a memorandum of understanding. If you don't understand what is a memorandum of understanding, you will learn today. We, the council, get agreement, the administration, with the school board. There is a list that Lieutenant Dayton Price put together for the schools that have limited parking, and they are in that list. But not to cover the whole entire blocks or 3 blocks away from the school. That's only for the school sidewalk. If you are parked in the school sidewalk, the discretion is that they will not ticket those vehicles, but the district needs to put their employees to clean the curve along the sidewalk. So before you reinvent the wheel, we already working on that way back. So school 13, school number 11, school Roberto Clemente, new Roberto Clemente, school 24, school 30, Kilpatrick, International High School, school 3 even is closed, okay? What else? Eastside High School, school 15, they are in the list that I'm talking about, but they cannot cover and not give ticket 3 blocks away because the teacher decide to park 3 blocks away and they're not gonna get a ticket. Somebody came in the past and asked me as a councilman, active councilman in the 5th Ward, that we should put decals saying that they are teachers. You know the risk I'm putting that person? People are looking for cards or marks to see who you are. That's why I advise people not even leave an ID hanging on your car. You know why? Because people out there looking, oh, that's the guy in the car. He left. Now let's break the window. Oh, he's a teacher. He's coming at 3 o'clock out. Let me break the windows. People had to learn more, man. It's like, I don't understand it. I don't know how to explain it, Corporate Council, but yes, the teacher's going to love it. Yes, they're going to love it. Learn how to go to school, brother.
Members of the public,
Last
please.
but not least, I'm talking.
Members of the public, please,
last
with
but not
close and
least-
fully portion.
Last but not least, I just want to advise the individual at the 5th Ward that since 2016, that being elected in the 5th Ward, more than 200 property came at an abandoned list. 5th Ward is a redevelopment zone. If you don't know, learn. It came in to redevelop the 5th Ward. That's why you see new construction. That's why you see new redevelopment area in the 5th Ward. I'm mad at that? No, I was mad in 2016 seeing a lot of abandoned properties, seeing crackheading in those property and illegal activities in those abandoned property. And not only that, property that was caught in fire because squatter was going in there. Now you go in the 5th Ward, you see 36 new projects since 2016 and more to come. And the big one that I love is the new Armory project. And you know what? We're not generalizing people. Our own people, our own people are coming to live in the 5th Ward because they have good leadership and they got good councilmen in the 5th Ward. As for Aldela Point, all right, and Ruby Cotton, I have the most residents in the ward. No, me. In the city. I have more residents than anyone.
No.
Wards in the city.
27.
I got 3,000. I got 3,000 more residents than 6th Ward. And if you could name it, name it, and name it. So, ladies and gentlemen, people know who's their councilman. People know the work that I do. And my work speaks by itself. Experience cannot be improvised. Mr. Daniel, you got a nice name, Mr. Daniel. Last but not least, I commend you
Please,
because I see you out there trying to promote what you're doing. One thing is that you asked for something that had to be clear. We cannot do a we could do a resolution support, but we cannot do an ordinance to take taxpayer money and put it in a private entity like yours. So, but as Councilman stated, there's other ways to promote, and you gain money and support you on. But if you got, you know how we talk, you know we could sit down and talk how we could do this, okay? Council President, this is one-on-one lecture today. I don't want to give one lecture, but it's okay. Madam Clerk, God bless you. My vote is yes.
Thank you, Councilman Velez. Mr. President.
We just come here.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let me just be brief before we close the public portion. But first of all, let me take this time to thank all the residents of the Third Ward for coming out strong in this past election on Tuesday. The Third Ward, we got the largest amount of votes from the Third Ward. We got more votes than any other ward in the city in this past election, more than the 6th ward, so I'm very satisfied with that. So I want to say thank you to all the residents that live in the Third Ward. We have around 27,200 people living in the Third Ward, so thank you. I feel blessed to be the councilman that represent those 27,200 plus residents. And also, let me just take this time to thank Karen Robinson, a Third Ward resident, for the great exhibition game or mini tournament at our new tennis court at Eastside Park. Third Ward resident, and to the entire city of Paterson, we have a brand new tennis court, state of the art. This past Saturday, they have a nice tournament, and I'm so excited to see my Third Ward residents enjoying the beautiful tennis court and also enjoying the park, because Eastside Park, we pave all the roads and it's beautiful to go around, do exercise, enjoy the park. And I would like to encourage my residents to please keep enjoying the park. Let's keep that area safe and clean. And if you see any illegal activity, you got my direct number, 973-930-1436. We have to keep our park safe and clean for our children, for the family of this great city. Also, to my Third Ward resident, 14th Avenue, totally repaved. We haven't fixed 14th Avenue. It wasn't fixed in the past 30 years. Now it's totally brand new. And I know I'm getting a lot of calls from my Third Ward residents, but please, Paterson, stop speeding. I'm getting a lot of complaints now that 14th Avenue is totally done. Now people are speeding on 14th Avenue. That's a residential area. We have to enforce the speeding limit, which is 25 miles per hour on that section. Please, let's keep that in mind. We're definitely moving forward in the Third Ward. Now, extremely important, this Monday, November the 13th at 6 p.m., we have our town hall meeting in the Third Ward, 764 11th Avenue at Paterson STEAM Academy. We're going to have a roundtable to talk about public safety and how we're going to keep the community safe, especially now that we have the holidays around the corner. We're going to have Isa Abasi, the officer in charge. Also, we're going to have DPW there because there's a lot of complaint about DPW and in that area. So we're going to have a, not the director, he's not going to be there, but I understand that Mr. Jackson from the DPW, from the union, is going to be there. So please be there, be on time. We're going to hear from you what's going on your block. It's our responsibility to keep the city safe, but we want to hear from you. If we're going to fix the city of Paterson, it has to be all of us included, and we need your help. We cannot do it alone. We need the community behind us, working together hand in hand to make our city safe. Also, to the meeting that we're supposed to have, the joint meeting between the Board of Education and the City Council, I'm postponing this meeting for the second week of November because we might have new commissioners at the Board of Education, and I'm not going to have that joint meeting now because we're going to take the privilege away from those new board members to join us, because we definitely need to have that meeting to talk about our shared services agreement between the city and the Board of Ed. So that's going to take place the second week of November, January, after we get the new commissioners swearing into the Board of Education. Paterson, let's continue working for the city. Let's continue moving the city forward. And once again, to any Third Ward resident, if you have any questions, please reach out to me. We're going to be very aggressive with those commercial truck parking overnight in the Third Ward. I'm getting calls that some of those commercial trucks being ticketed and towing. Please, if you have a commercial vehicle, you cannot take public space away. You have to have a yard to park those trucks. After 10 p.m., it's illegal to park commercial vehicle. You're going to be ticketed and towing. We have to keep that area for our residents because parking is very limited in the city of Paterson. With that being said, Madam Clerk, my vote is yes.
Thank you, Council President. The votes are 7 yeses, 2 absences. The public portion is hereby closed.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We have item number 5, Madam Clerk.
Yes, Mr. President. Item number 5 is a resolution
Council
reappointing.
President, I'm asking that item number 5 is tabled.
Okay,
Ask
so,
for it to be tabled.
okay. All right, so, yes, he removed it out of the consent agenda. Now I understand it's going to be tabled. No problem. Thank you, Councilman Jackson, Madam Clerk. We have no other item on the agenda. We finished our agenda tonight.
Yes.
It's a motion to close.
So moved.
Move to close.
No, I'm sorry. We close him. We will have a dialogue. We will have a back and forth, but we close public portion. I'm sorry.
Move.
We will get back to you. Let us close this meeting, and we have a dialogue because public portion is closed. Motion to close by Councilman Velez, second by Councilman De La C. Roll call to close the meeting.
Roll call.
No.
Yes.
I understand that.
Are we on roll call?
We're in roll call, Madam Clerk.
Roll call to close the public. Sir,
Madam, you could just.
roll call. Roll call.
Mr. Mayor, so if you understand, Alice, I'm sorry, you cannot continue speaking. We're closing the meeting. We would love to engage the conversation now. Let us close the regular meeting. The public portion, it's done already, and that's when the public have the time to address us. Now, you're going to be able to address the council right after we finish the meeting. Right after we finish the meeting, motion to close. Councilman De La Cis?
Yes.
Roll call to Councilman Abdelaziz, yes. Councilwoman Cotton?
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I got to,
I'm sorry. Remember, I don't want to do this, but we need to stop. Pichardo, can you address our great friend? Just address him. Continue the meeting to close.
Councilwoman Cotton?
So that he had to learn that that he had to wait. We want to talk to him, but he cannot.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I just want to make a couple announcements. I have partnership with the Islamic Relief of USA, along with Humble Beginnings and with Akbar McIntyre. Also, we will be distributing turkeys on November the 18th, and I will be at the Dr. Norman T. Cotton Senior Building Apartments on November 18th. So if you're interested in receiving a turkey, you must register with me, and you can call me at 973-851-0571. Also, I came to the office yesterday, and if you're interested in learning how to be a CERT, which is Paterson Community Emergency Response Team, they're going to do training, and that is with our EMT person, Mr. Ayers. He's with the fire department. So if you're interested in becoming a community emergency response team, please call me, and I can refer you to Mr. Ayers at our Paterson Police Department. Also, I just want to say too that I want to send out my condolences to Michael Cleves Sr. He's been part of Paterson probably for the last 50 years. He moved to Tennessee, and I just want to give my condolences to his son, Michael Cleves Jr., to his wife, Atia. I saw that he had passed, but he lives in Tennessee now, but he lived in the city of Paterson for about 50 years. He was known at the Presidential Boulevard. I just wanted to send my condolences out to him, to his family. He was known as Big Mike here in the city. He has his kids, his young gentleman, his son, Michael Cleves Jr. I know went away for basketball. I can't remember what school he went to, but I just want you, the community, to know that Michael Cleves Sr. passed away. He lived in Tennessee, and I just want to send my condolences out. Also, I want to say that we're having our Thanksgiving dinner at the Masonic Temple. I just want to give a shout out to our Councilwoman Vera Ames. On this November 23rd, we will be celebrating 40 years, 40 consecutive years When we was in the pandemic, we did a grab and go where they had to, we couldn't sit down to do it, so we did a grab and go. So November 23rd, at 12 o'clock at the Masonic Temple, I want to give a shout out to our councilwoman who saw the vision in 1983. I want to thank the Integrity Lodge number 51 who helped her with that vision. And I want to thank myself as councilwoman for continuing that vision. And I also want to thank Paterson Cares because there was something that happened to me that I could not do it one year. And they stepped up and did it. And I always say that's what the community is supposed to do. They do that. I couldn't be in town, and so we're going to celebrate Councilwoman Vera Ames, 40 years, celebrating, feeding people. And now I find that they're not homeless people. They're community people. They're people who can't afford to buy a nice Thanksgiving dinner. So we will be celebrating November 23rd at the Masonic Temple, Integrity Lodge, number 51, 40 years of consecutive service of serving our community. I also want to just bring out, and I'll be real quick, I want to talk to, what's his name? Sebastian. You know, my kids went to school 13, from kindergarten through 8th grade. And what happened was back in the day when the teachers came, and what they did was they all got together and the janitors cleaned the curbs so they wouldn't have to move their cars. They wouldn't have to park somewhere else. And the janitors, I don't know what was happening out there, but that's what they did. So they never had to worry about parking tickets or street cleaning tickets because they all the teachers got together, the janitors got together, and they make sure the street was clean, that they didn't need to move their cars. So I'm gonna say that's something that they can look into for that. Like I said, my kids went there for the entire period from kindergarten through 8th grade, and that was starting like in 1985 that they started going there. With that being said, I want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. We do not have any more meetings. To my Madam Clerk, Jackie, to our Secretary, Sophia, to my Madam BA, to Kathleen, and to our Corporation Counsel, Mr. Stampone, to our CFO, Javier, to our two officers here, which my teddy bear over there, Eddie Pachado, who played football with my son back in the 90s, and to the officer here, who I see him every time, and of course to our stenographer, Melinda, thank you. Everyone, my council members, have a good holiday coming up. I hope I see some of you down at the league. We have a convention next week called Municipality, New Jersey Leagues of Municipalities. I'm honored to be on that board. I represent this county of Passaic. The board has 21 counties, and they have a person represented for each one. So with that being said, Madam Clerk, everyone have a good holiday, enjoy. We'll see you back in December, but please, one more question, Madam Clerk. Two things, I'm sorry, Council President. You gotta tell Corporation Counsel, he gotta do something. We gotta come up with a resolution or something with these vans washing cars. My phone was off the hook this weekend. We gotta come up with something. That is not the responsibility of the police department to go there and tell these vans that they cannot wash cars, and they're lined up, sometimes 10 cars deep, waiting to be washed from a portable thing. So I'd just say we need to figure out, what we can do with that, because it's happening a lot, because my phone was just ringing off the hook this past weekend. So and Madam Clerk, Madam BA, one more thing. When are we gonna start looking into getting the deputy clerk for our clerk? When is it gonna close? Our clerk needs help. She needs a deputy clerk, and I need to know when we're gonna start that. Everyone, have a good night. God bless you all out there, orders. Everyone out there, have a good holiday. We'll see you soon. Call me for any of the items that I talked about tonight. Thank you. God bless you all out there. Madam Clerk, my vote is yes.
Thank you, Councilwoman Cotton. Councilman Jackson.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Councilwoman Cotton, that's the job of the council.
To do what?
The clerk's office.
Well, that's what we want to do.
You asked an administration.
No, it's open.
Anyway, so A few things. And I apologize for being after the fact, but I know we had already passed it. So, Madam BA, if I can get an email response to this, it'd be fine. There's a refund to the Attorney General's office that's in the bills list for $150,000. I'm curious on what we are refunding them for. So if we can get that, if I can get that answered. Also, through the chair, the CFO, Flanagan's Construction, special state appropriation, if for $210,000, if I can get an outline of what exactly that's for. I made multiple requests that still had not been answered. I searched for your email, Madam BA, with regard to Friends of Paterson Parks. I still haven't received that information. Madam Clerk, if you can forward that information back to the BA's office. I still haven't gotten the answer on that. Mr. Stampone, I know you weren't here that evening, but I also made a request to Corporation Counsel and one of the staff attorneys with regard to writing the mirroring ordinance or mirroring resolution in support of Israel as we did for Palestine. I'm surprised that request had not been answered yet from Corporation Counsel. What else is it? Yeah, I think that's it. Madam Clerk, my vote is yes.
Thank you, Councilman Jackson. Councilman Udine.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. My vote is yes. Good night, everyone.
Thank you, Councilman Udine. Councilman Velez.
Once again, I got to reiterate that all the schools that are on the list for avoid or not give tickets for the teachers are only on the sidewalk that the school is located, not around the blocks or whatever. So I understand there's an issue with parking the teachers. We all know that. At the same time, I had talked to the superintendent of school before she retired. There was a lot of lots empty that they could acquire and purchase them for school parking for teachers. So the plan is there, and I got a good communication with the superintendent that we have now, knowing that she acknowledged that I have more schools in the ward than any other wards. Saying that, Madam Clerk, thank you for your service and the great job that your office did during the election. Your staff, the DPW workers, and individuals that was working on Tuesday, up and down, they was going to make sure that they was up and running. So thank you to the officer. Thank you to Rafael for his service in the TV. To the gentlemen that are working back here, our next meeting is December, okay? We will be out this next week at the League of Municipality, starting Tuesday. For me, you could check my record. For me, it's not a vacation day. I log into classes, they all know, and I come back always with solution for the people of the city and the residents of the Fifth Ward. Thank you, colleagues. My vote is yes to close the night. Oh, by the way, before close, can DPW change that time back? Because I was looking at it, I thought it was at 10:30 and so.
Yes, I will.
All right. Saying that, Council President, I think you broke record today. My vote is yes to close the meeting. Muy buenas noches a todos.
Thank you, Councilman Velez. Mr. President.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. So before my last vote of the night, let me take this time to wish you all a happy Thanksgiving. Madam Clerk, happy Thanksgiving. Sophia, to all my council colleagues. Madam BA, happy Thanksgiving to our Corporation Counsel, Mr. Silva. And to our police officer that we have here doing a phenomenal job. To all of you at home, happy Thanksgiving. Let me just recommend this to all my residents in the city of Paterson. If you see a person on your block that doesn't have any family, please, just call them, maybe enjoy, bring them to their house. So let's treat each other as a brothers and sisters, because that's what we are. We have a lot of members in our community that they live by themselves. They have no family here. So let's take care of our community. Let's take care of our neighbor. And that's what we do. In order for us to have a better city, we have to treat each other like brothers and sisters. So once again, thank you to all my third ward residents. And Karen, thank you so very much that she's doing an outstanding job, going out there in the community in the third ward. Once again, my cell phone number is 973-930-1436. If you have any question, please reach out to me. Also, November the 13th, which is this Monday, we have our town hall meeting in the third ward in the round table to have a discussion about public safety with the officer in charge, Isa Abasi. We want to hear from you what happened in your neighborhood. We want to hear your idea on how can we bring safety into our community, how can we have more police presence in our community, in our neighborhood. So it's important that you show up at 6 p.m., 764 11th Avenue, STEAM Academy at 6 p.m. So once again, God bless you, Paterson, and my vote is yes, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Council President. The votes are 6 yeses, 3 absences. The Municipal Council meeting of Thursday, November 9th is hereby adjourned.
Thank you. I know the camera is on, Madam B.
Can I just, there were a couple questions that I wanted to address.
I know, but I know you have it. I know you have that note, but it's important, Council Member. I know we're live on TV, Madam Clerk. It's important that you put it on the record because there's a payment for the AGs that you need to explain to that. Go ahead, Madam B.
I just wanted to answer that question about the refund of money for the AG's office. That was part of the first MOU that the council passed for the overtime, the summer initiative that was for overtime specific and it was a specific time period through September. So when part of that money wasn't spent by that time period, the AG's office asked us to return that to them, but they are also including it in the second MOU that the council passed at the special meeting last week. It's now going to be coming back to us as part of the larger allocation of close to $3 million to the city. And I did respond to the Friends of Paterson Parks request as part of the council request. We have sent that to the Friends of Paterson Parks. I cannot just release that information. They have to decide to do so. And so it's on their agenda for the next time that they meet.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
There's an entity that we're doing business with, and she's saying that we need their permission for us to see their formation documents?
It's not, yes, Council President, it's not a city entity. It is a 501c3 that has a board of directors, and the board of directors can respond to that. I have asked them for that. One other item for Councilman Velez.
Madam BA, council members, we close, Madam BA, we thank you. We close the we close the meeting. We just allow you to give that information because especially the payment from the AG is extremely important. But if we add that, send Councilman Jackson an additional request that he asked for, especially the formation of the entity, because he made that request in the last meeting. Okay.
Yes, and I responded.
So I thank you. I thank you for your time, and good night, Paterson.